All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to season 4, episode 3 of Hit the Books. We have NFL season week 3 right around the corner, starting out tonight with Thursday night football. When you're listening to this, just me and Mackie going to get started on some of our other topics, get into the NFL in a little bit as well. But Mackie, I'll hand things off over to you. Just me and you this week for the NFL, or for most of the episode. How are we doing so far? What do you think about the NFL thus far? Now that we're 2 weeks in, and have some better judgments to make off of some of these teams.
Yeah, I missed last week, so I wasn't able to talk about week one. But yeah, just getting into the NFL season. Obviously, it's been a good year so far. Huff, you're the only one that's still sitting there undefeated at 2-0. Me and Ace both sitting at 1-1. Cowboys had a rough week last week, but all in all, good football. So it's been a good entertainment. The season's off to a good start.
Yeah, so some of these teams already got the injury bug. That's definitely the worst part of the NFL. Is it's we make all these predictions all off season. Oh, none of these teams or all these teams are going to go so far. Obviously, you can't predict injuries, and some of these teams that, at least the Rams, I was pretty big on. They've hit the injury bug pretty hard. One I was surprised on, not to get into too much of our week 2 stuff, was the Bucks beating the Lions. Obviously, with all the injuries they had on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, a couple big names have gone down. But we'll get right into our college football portion. Week 3, we had a couple of big games. Let me get these pulled up here. And let's see, we had Alabama at Wisconsin, absolutely trounced Wisconsin at Camp Randall Stadium. Let's see, Utah handled Utah State. Texas spread, we had the minus 35. They handled business against UTSA. Arch Manning looks awesome when he steps in there for Texas. Obviously, Quinn Ewers, they said there might be some injury there, so Arch Manning might be the guy going forward. Arizona, Kansas State, that was the Friday night game. Kansas State handled business there. Kansas State looks pretty legit. But some of these week 4 games that I pulled for us to highlight, Illinois at Nebraska on Friday night. That'll start out the weekend. USC at Michigan, a Big Ten matchup Saturday at 3:30. Michigan just benched Davis Warren. They're going with Alex Orji at quarterback. Utah at Oklahoma State Saturday at 4 p.m. And then to cap things off for college football, Tennessee at Oklahoma Saturday night at 7:30. But we'll start with this Illinois-Nebraska game, a Big Ten matchup. Dylan Raiola, Nebraska at home here, number 24 versus 22. Nebraska's currently a 7.5-point favorite. Which way do you lean on this game?
Yeah, I'm really high in Nebraska. I think their defense is really the heart of this team. I know Dylan Raiola is obviously one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and he's been playing like it. But this defense is the heart of this team. They shut down Colorado. Colorado had 10 points. You know how prolific that offense is. The two other games, they played Northern Iowa last week, I think. You expect them to keep them off the board, but only giving up 3 points. Only giving up 7 to UTEP. Defense is really good. They're in the Big Ten, so obviously you expect a pretty good defense over there. But this team's they're hard to score points on, and they play a really strong-minded game. They play their own brand of football. And when you have a quarterback that balls like that and can really put the points up on the board with a defense that plays that well behind them, it's going to be a hard team to beat. When they're playing at home, they're at home this week, aren't they? They play Illinois at home.
Yeah, yeah.
Top 25 matchup. I think Nebraska gets the job done. I think they cover the 7 points. What is it, 7.5?
7.5. I'd like to get it to 7, but I do lean Nebraska on the spread as well for basically all the reasons you just iterated.
It should be a good Big Ten matchup. I'm not very high on Illinois. I know they played good football up to this point, but this Nebraska team could be a fringe playoff team.
Yeah, they definitely could be. They did the right thing in ranking them after last week when they let them slide into this top 25. I think they get their first top 25 win. Head to head, at least in this scenario. So I like them over Illinois. I like them with the 7.5. I'd prefer it at 7 than 7.5, obviously, but it seems like this line, I think it opened at 7, so it's already going in the direction of maybe an 8 here. So I do lean on the Cornhuskers. We'll move into our Saturday slate. USC at Michigan. Obviously the first matchup of these two is Big Ten opponents. Let's see here. USC is now a 5-point favorite. Over under at 44.5. USC money line minus 215. Michigan plus 180. I lean on the Trojans here just because of the unknown with Michigan. I'm not sold on really anything they have going offensively with either Davis Warren or Alex Orji at quarterback. But I may stay away from this game because I don't love Michigan to get their ass kicked twice in the Big House. But I do lean on the Trojans here. What about you?
Yeah, they're 2-1. Obviously, they got their ass beat by Texas at home. Hard to go in Ann Arbor and beat Michigan. Um, we're looking at a completely different team. Obviously, their defense, which was the heart and soul of that team last year. You see a completely different roster. Their head coach left for the NFL. Obviously, JJ McCarthy's gone. So you're looking at a completely different Michigan team. I think they're still trying to get in the swing of things. Both of their wins are pretty underwhelming wins against pretty low ball opponents. I know Fresno State's not the worst team in the world, but they're not really handed anyone an ass kicking, and they really did get their ass kicked by Texas. But Texas is the number one team in the country. I don't want to overlook this Michigan team too early. I think they're still trying to get their feet underneath them. But this USC team, led by Lincoln Riley, they're one to look out for sure. I know Lincoln Riley's definitely a top 3 college football coach in the nation right now. So you don't really want to look past them. But going into Ann Arbor as 5-point favorite, it's going to be a tough game for both teams. I don't think the spread is safe either way.
Yeah, I don't love a 5. It's just a weird number. I'm going to stay away from that one. Let's see. What was
You
the
like
other?
Miller Moss? You a fan of him?
I do think he's pretty good. I think, especially with Lincoln Riley, the quarterbacks we've seen him produce, I think that he's in the right system to succeed, especially at USC. We saw it with Caleb last year. They now have a defense, so I think
Yeah,
this
they
team
have
is pretty legit.
a team. That's something we've never seen out of this USC team. Obviously, if Caleb Williams had a defense, probably would have won 2 national championships. They had the worst defense in the country for 2 years, so he wasn't able to get blessed with what they have now. But they definitely do have a good defense over there now.
I feel like they also had to do that. I feel like
You're
they had to
moving
change
over.
some things going over to the Big Ten. You got to
Yeah,
learn to play that defensive style
you're moving over to the Big Ten. You cannot go in there the same team you were. You'll get
and
shit on.
expect to win games 56-45 against
It's
Penn
not gonna
State. Like
happen.
that's not going to happen. Yeah.
But this team
Um.
does look strong.
Yeah, I agree. I lean USC in this second one. I'm probably going to stay away from the spread there. I do like them to get the win though, but like again, it's tough to get wins in Ann Arbor, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Michigan steal one, especially with the unknown with Orgy at quarterback, Sharon Moore. There's a lot unknown with this Michigan team. I've been kind of staying away from their games just for that reason, but I might lean on the Trojans to get the cover and the win on Saturday. We'll have to see.
If you are gonna bet Michigan, I think there is value in the money line. It's probably sitting at plus 200 right around there.
Yeah,
So, that should be it should be a good game. Should be one of the better games on Saturday.
yeah. Then Utah at Oklahoma State, the matchup of 2 year 7 quarterbacks in college football. Cam Rising, and then I forget the quarterback's name for Oklahoma
Rising's
State.
out, isn't he?
Well, he did get hurt last week. Is he out of this game?
I saw that he was already. They were already looking at an 8th year of eligibility for him because of his injury. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not playing. But
Bowman, that's the kid. Bowman, whatever this kid's first name is, Alan Bowman for Oklahoma State. He's also in his 7th year, and he is, how old is he? Let's see, where's the age? I love how they don't show you their age anymore. They're all 29 years old. Yeah, but anyway, the spread on this one, Utah -2. Try to find out if Cam Rising is playing this one. Utah -2, over under at 54.5. Utah moneyline -125. Oklahoma State +105. Him playing might truly change my pick on this one because I love Ollie Gordon.
no, he's ready to roll. It says ready to roll versus Oklahoma State.
I'm gonna go the over in this one for the sole fact that I think both of these offenses can put up points.
Classic
Utah's
Big
been in a
12 over.
couple. I was gonna say just a classic Big 12 over 50s, high number. I'm gonna take it. I think Ollie Gordon could have 2. Oklahoma State puts up points at home. Utah is a pretty good, obviously veteran offense, road team. Year 7 quarterback. They've been there, done that. Give me the over. I like the 54.5. I like that more than either side in this matchup, especially with, is he hurt? Is he just playing? I don't know. I don't love the Oklahoma State quarterback. I do love Mike Gundy and Ollie Gordon. I think they'll be able to drop some points. So give me that over.
Yeah, I like that play as well. I don't really have a side on this one. I would trust Cam Rising a little more than this Oklahoma State team. I've never really been high at, what's his name? Yeah, Alan Bowman, you said. Yeah, he's definitely a household name. But I don't know. Cam Rising definitely has it. It's just a matter of if he's coming back 100% or if he's going to come back 80%. Just try to, Utah's sitting at 12th in the country right now, so they got to really keep up that resume. Try to try to stay in that playoff picture. So I know it's early, but you don't really want to drop these games early, and especially with the gauntlet they probably have ahead of them. So
Yeah.
I lean Utah in this one. I know they're going on the road, might be a little sketchy, but I do like the over.
Yeah. And then our last one, the SEC matchup that I picked out, number 6 Tennessee heading to number 15 Oklahoma. Oklahoma getting 7 points as a home dog. Over under at 57.5. Oklahoma money line plus 225. Tennessee minus 275. Which way do you go on this?
This is the first time since 2016 that Oklahoma's been a dog at home, and it's the first time I saw. I don't know. I don't want to say the number because I'm not 100% sure, but the first time in a really long time they've been a touchdown underdog at home. So I don't know. This is tough. I mean, Tennessee's been absolutely ship humping these teams, 71-0 last week again against Kent State. Oklahoma's not really taking care of business. I mean, I know they're 3-0. They beat Houston by 2 points. I think Houston's pretty weak this year. They beat Arkansas. Who did they play last week? Arkansas State won by like 10.
Yeah. I think it's
Um,
kind of, I was thinking the same. I think it's kind of a weird line. I think it's telling me just take Oklahoma with the points. They're at home. Trust them to come in the SEC and maybe steal one or stay in a close game. But I don't know if I can
Tennessee's
bet
good,
against this
dude.
Tennessee team. Iama Lieva, whatever his name is, he's unreal. Their receivers are unreal. That Tennessee team is really good. I don't know if 7 points is enough, but that's what this line's telling me. I feel like they should be getting more points.
Yeah, I do lean Oklahoma in this because the home team. They're what are they 12th, 13th in the country. You gotta kind of take them here, but
15.
they're 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lean Oklahoma, but this is a sketchy game. Tennessee is not somebody you really want to bet against.
Yeah, I agree. This is
This
one
might
I'm
be
very excited to watch. I will say that.
might be Oklahoma's welcome to the SEC moment.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we got some good college good college football games this weekend, good matchups. Make sure you're staying tuned to our social media. We'll get some plays out there for us in the world of college football. I think would we go last week 2-1-1.
2-1-1, positive
So
units. You can't complain.
starting to grow in the college football. Obviously, it's a rough start now. We're digging ourselves out of that hole. But doing pretty well at it. But we'll jump over to the MLB for our MLB power rankings of the week. Let's go ahead here, and I'm going to pull these up. Give me 1 second, Mac. Let's find these. I don't know where to put them. Let's see. All right. And at number 5, we have the Milwaukee Brewers. Number 4, the Cleveland Guardians. Number 3, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 2, the New York Yankees. And number 1, the Philadelphia Phillies. So we've seen some shakeup in this list the past couple of weeks. Cleveland back in there. Milwaukee, staying their case and staying in that top 5. And then the Phillies and Yankees back at 1 and 2. Obviously, your Mets still in that wild card push. Have you been keeping up with the MLB as much now that football's back, or no?
I mean, I just watch. I pay attention to 4 teams: the Mets, the Braves, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks. And the Mets are making a really good push right now. They have 2 games on the Braves right now in that last wild card spot. They're tied with the Diamondbacks. I know the Diamondbacks are up 6-2 right now, so they'll probably gain a half game until the Mets play tonight. But we said it at the All-Star break. We said the Mets were going to find a way in, and for a little there, it looked like they were kind of going staggered, and they weren't really going to find a spot in this playoffs. But the Braves aren't playing the best baseball right now. Mets are playing. I mean, Mets could be the hottest team in the league right now. I know they're only 6-4 in their last 10, but they find ways to get it done left and right. If they won that series against the Phillies last week, they lost the rubber match 2-1, and they lost that game before 5-4 something like that, where they're up 4-0. Definitely a winnable series, but they just kind of let it slip out of their hands. But getting Lindor back by the weekend, so not much to worry about for this team right now. They just got to keep playing their ball.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, you said it best. I was kind of surprised. I haven't looked really much at these standings since we sent the power rankings earlier in the week. I didn't know the Mets sit there with the exact same record right now as the Diamondbacks. Obviously, like you said, Diamondbacks beating the shit out of Colorado right now. But who's Atlanta have left the rest of the year?
They play the Mets 3 more times. So they have 3 against the Mets, they have 3 against the Marlins, and then 3 against the Royals. So the 3 against the Marlins, I mean, there's no shoo-ins for them right now. They were up 5-2 last night going into the 7th inning and lost 6-5. Blown out back-to-back games by the Dodgers, 9-2 and 9-0. They're just not really playing great baseball right now. They have to go to Miami, which obviously is a pretty easy matchup, but it's a divisional opponent. You see them the most out of anyone. So I wouldn't say it's the easiest matchup ever. And then you got to play the Mets, who obviously those are basically playoff games at that point. And then you go in to play Kansas City, who's also playing for something. So no real easy games here for the end of the season for them. But you go over and look at the Mets. Mets have to play the Phillies 4 times, to play the Braves, and they play the Brewers. So there's clearly no easy games there. And then the Diamondbacks have a pretty hefty schedule as well. So coming down the stretch, I mean, there's 11 games left. I think 10 games left, and all these playoff teams, all these teams trying to make a push, really have a gauntlet to get through.
What do you think goes on in the American League? Still sits there with right now Baltimore, Kansas City, and Minnesota.
We've been saying this. I think I've said this for 2 months. These are the teams that are going to get in. I think it's getting a little closer right now. Who's close? Tigers, game and a half out of the Twins. Twins aren't playing great baseball right now, but I don't think the Tigers find their way in. I think it's they're just kind of trying to make it interesting right now. But look at 8-2 in their last 10 3-game winning streak. Who do they have left? Ooh, Tigers finished this season against the White Sox. We could see something here,
Twins are in Cleveland right now, and then to Boston.
And then Miami.
And Twins end with the Orioles. I know it's in Minnesota, but you said Detroit ends with Chicago.
Well, you could see Detroit slip in there just because of the strength of schedule.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with the Twins for now, but that's gonna be a tighter race than the NL might be.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Anything else in the MLB? Obviously, it kind of alluded to what I want to talk about with the Mets and the rest of the playoff picture. But
Red Sox kind of fell out, didn't they?
Yeah. Ace isn't here
5
to
games
defend
out.
his Red Sox. They're
But they're ahead of schedule. I'll just say what Ace would say. They're ahead of schedule, and they really are. But good season, a little overwhelming season. They weren't really expected to sit around 500, I don't think, but maybe next year.
Yeah. Let's see here. And then the only thing I had in the NHL, other than the fact that NHL starts in, I think Ace said 20 days with
20 days.
The Prague games with, I forget who's playing in those games, but I just know it starts October 4th, I believe is the date. Crosby re-signs his 2-year deal, $8.7 million a year with the Penguins. League's longest tenured captain looks to chase down Yzerman's record, would tie it if he fills out this contract here. I guess I'll ask you this. I was ready to ask Ace this too. Is there anyone that actually thought that he wouldn't finish his career as a Penguin?
No, was that actually talked about?
There what? Like I was obviously like you hear like the people like joke about like
well,
obviously
the thing that people want to say is that he's had such a good career. Why waste his final careers on a team that really isn't in contention?
Yeah.
He doesn't. I mean, he's won 3 cups. He's probably the second best.
Yeah, he's like
the second best player of all time. You think he really cares about to go out and be in contention for another 2-3 years? He'll retire before he ever went anywhere else.
And I feel like he's seen it enough time and time again where it's like, yeah, he could easily be like, all right, cool, trade me to Tampa Bay, or I'm going to sign with Tampa Bay, and we're going to go on a cup run here. But it's like, most of the times when that kind of shit happens, all that you do is if you don't win the cup and you say Tampa Bay goes to lose in the first round in Florida again, he's going to look like such a dumbass for even leaving and like risking that.
He would hang him up right there, too.
Yeah, literally. He'd be like, all right, this is it. I have no loyalty to this team. I just was going at it for a ring, and, it didn't work out.
No, he definitely. I mean, he kept that team in Pittsburgh. He's the reason that franchise is who they are. I would never see him going anywhere else. And it's not even like the Penguins are the worst team in the world. They're gonna sit around. They're probably gonna be outside the playoffs, but they're gonna sit right there in that playoff push, the final 15, 20 games of the season.
They're the kind of team that'll go on runs throughout the season where I'm gonna believe that they can do it, and then right at the end of the year, it's gonna be them, Senators. Just like it was last year, and like just like a wild card, a fringe wild card, like they were last year. Would they miss it by last year a game? I think it's gonna be
something like that. It was real tight. It's gonna probably be the same thing this year, but
it's gonna be something very similar. I just hope they're on the right side of it this year. But I mean, again, just to go play Toronto, any of those crazy teams, but anything can happen once you get into the NHL playoffs. But we'll bounce back to the NFL. We had our week 2 in the NFL, like you said. Thursday Night Football, we saw the Bills take on the Dolphins, get a big win in divisional matchup, 31-10. As you said, my Steelers advanced to 2-0 with a 13-6 win in Denver. Ravens lose as the biggest favorite of the week to the Raiders. Raiders win 26-23. Let's
Was
see,
that
49,
8.5 my favorite?
8.5 points. Started at 9.5, dropped to 8.5. And I told Ace last week on the podcast whenever he was like, dude, just pick the Ravens as a survival pick, dude. There's no way they start 0-2. And I was like, now they're going to fucking start 0-2 because you just said that. And literally, I don't know, dude, something about this line dropping, Antonio Pierce, like, Ravens always blow one of these games every year. I could see it be this one early. And obviously, I still picked the Ravens, didn't listen to myself. But it's okay. My backup plan was going to be to go with the Eagles, who lost on Monday night to the Falcons. Or the Cowboys. I literally was going to go 0-3 no matter who I picked, so it didn't really matter. I was going to do
Alright,
Ravens,
yeah.
Cowboys, or Eagles.
You can live with that one then.
Yeah, exactly. Because the one I actually liked was the damn Seahawks, and that's who I used in week 1. So of course couldn't fucking use them. But a couple other ones. Your Cowboys obviously losing to the Saints, who look like absolute world beaters out there. And then, like I said, Seattle defeating Aces New England Patriots. And Chiefs get bailed out, get a game-winning field goal over the Bengals, and like I said, Falcons get a big win over the Eagles on Monday Night Football.
I wouldn't say they were bailed out. I think it was definitely a pass interference, but
yeah, but I mean, obviously that's the narrative going away from that game is the refs, the Chiefs, all that good stuff. But
I fell asleep during those 4 o'clock games for a lot of it, but I was up for that. I don't really know how the whole game went in terms of favoritism, but that was definitely. I mean, you got to call that right there. I mean, the game on the line clearly got there before the ball did.
I saw some people were like, "This is a bang bang play." It's like, I mean, the ball's in front of him and he's already touching him, so that's not
necessarily. It wasn't even bang bang. Like I was able to see it with the naked eye. Like I'm able to see it from my TV. The ref standing 7 yards
10
away.
feet away.
Yeah. Able to tell you too.
Yeah, but let's see what else we got. The only other thing I had, college basketball, almost 2 months away. With
that's the bread and butter. That's what we're really sitting here waiting for.
That's really. I mean, I feel like it always is October, but it's just because it starts so early in November. That once October hits, I know it's close. It's basically once a World Series is over, college basketball starts. That's how I have to think about it.
Yeah, but the thing about college basketball is that if I feel like it takes like 2-3 weeks to actually like get into it because you're playing the first few weeks.
It'll be Duke versus like UL Monroe.
It's also that, and you really got to get the college basketball is something that you really have to get a feel for. Like you have to really feel these teams out, see how they're going. You saw Michigan State last year; they were preseason ranked 4th, ended up as a 9 seed in the tournament. So I mean, you really got to get a feel for these teams and how their season is going to go before you really want to start betting them.
And they do all those invitationals. They do all those invitationals and stuff. It's like neutral sites and teams that you don't normally see go up against each other. So it's kind of hard to call those matchups. But I cannot wait for that to start. The best time of the year is whenever I can just watch the Penguins and good NHL games that I want to, and then when I don't want to, I watch good college basketball or preferably just have both on. And it's a quality like Tuesday night and then football on the weekends. We're so close to prime sports.
I think like January, February is by far like because that's when you're in the conference playing college basketball. You got really good NFL going on. Obviously, the NHL is in full swing. NBA, I know NBA regular season's dog shit, but
NBA
February,
January, February like actually starts to matter too. That's the only.
January, February, I think are like the most underrated months. I'm not gonna say the best months, but probably the most underrated months of sports.
March gets all the praise, but there's no NFL. I need some NFL mixed there. I'd take January as well because at least you get the NFL playoffs and college basketball just in season.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's see here. I think that's all we got till we get into our week 3 slate and we kick it back to ourselves. Yeah, sounds good. We will get started with the week 3 slate in the NFL. All right, we will get into our Thursday night football matchup of week 3. We have Aces New England Patriots heading to MetLife to take on Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Jets coming to this one a 6.5 point favorite. Over under at 38.5. This over under has gone up a little bit. I saw 37.5 this morning. Jets money line minus 275, Patriots plus 220. Ace, take it away. Also, now that you're joining us, we're back for week 3. If there was anything you wanted to say from week 2 as well, but also take over and talk about your Patriots Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the introduction there, Huff. I mean, the Patriots, I'd be a lot happier if they were 2-0 going into this matchup. It's not even like the NHL where they could have that 1 point for overtime loss against the Seattle Seahawks, but they're playing much better than people expected, playing that brand of Patriots football that we've all come to expect the last 2 decades here. Rod Mayo following in Bill Belichick's footsteps. I think they have a good chance at competing in this game and potentially even winning it. The New York Jets haven't looked that good to date. I know they played the good 49ers on the road, and then they went on the road again and played the Titans, but almost fumbled the bag to Will Levis, who's just a walking meme. But the Patriots, I mean, they're just top to bottom playing good football. Sturdy, stingy defense. Keon White looking much better than Matthew Judon did. That's why we moved on from him. Ramondre Stevenson getting the true workhorse carrying. Rod Mayo introducing that, unlike Bill Belichick, so he's turned into a stud. That offense, Hunter Henry looking like one of the best tight ends in the league early on. A lot to be excited about, and I think it's going to be a grudge match. We always handle these Jets, and I'd like to do it once again. Little brother them, even though they have Aaron Rodgers.
Mackie, what do you think? Patriots, Jets.
Yeah, Jets are 0-7 in their last 7 primetime games against the Patriots. I think that dates back about 10 to 12 years. But this is obviously a different era for both teams. Jets have not looked like they should have up to date, which is obviously Jets style of football. You know, the Jets always underachieve no matter how good of a roster they have. They have a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball as well, but even so, that offense hasn't looked that good with all the weapons they have on that side. But the spread's a little sketchy here. I kind of lean Patriots plus the 6. I think the Jets can get it done, but the Patriots, I mean, they're stuck in games. They beat the Bengals week 1, obviously had a very, very good showing last week against the Seahawks, 2-0 Seahawks. So I think this will be a close one, divisional matchup. Jets are home. I think they'll get the job done, but the plus 6 is definitely a little sketchy. I do lean Patriots.
Yeah, I like the under in this matchup. 2 kind of pretty good defenses. The way that we've seen this Patriots team play, they've played in a low scoring. Would they beat the Bengals? 16-10 was the final score, right?
Yeah, final score 16-10, and they were tied with the Seahawks.
I was gonna say 23-20 in a 43-point game. I think that it cashed the over because it went to overtime. They've played some, close to the vest football, the defensive style, running the ball, like you said. Ramondre Stevenson showing he's a true workhorse, and he's going to give that offense, something to lean on whenever the struggles do come, or if at all, with the quarterback play. But the Patriots getting 6.5 here. That's who I'd lean on with the spread. I like the under here in this matchup, under 38.5. Haven't looked at the first half. It's probably too low. Anytime the unders or the totals below 40. That first half's always like 17, 18 points. It's pretty tough. I usually like it right around 20. Give me the under in this one. I'm still waiting on the Jets to have that game. I feel like this could be it, but Mackie saying the stat with them in the prime time kind of scares me. They didn't look great last week in Tennessee, like Ace said. So just give me the under. I think it'll be a close to the vest game. I think, like Mackie said, I think the Jets will handle business, but it might be within 6.5 points. So lean the Patriots with the spread, like the Jets to win, like the under.
Yeah, that's not a bad take there, Huff. Those primetime unders, you always smack those, especially with 2 defensive teams here. CJ Mosley out, Mac, you mentioned those injuries on the Jets side of the ball. I think that's going to be big for the Patriots run game. One interesting piece for both teams is the backup running back. I think Braylon Allen and Antonio Gibson could have valid games for both teams. Both could even find the end zone. Allen did it twice last week. Gibson had an integral part of that offense behind Stevenson. So it's kind of nice to see both have a 2-headed monster in the backfield. Some good receiving options on that Jet side. Eager to see how Gonzo matches up with Garrett Wilson. He's been keeping up with the best to date, so it'll be interesting to watch. I think this will be a good Thursday night football game.
Yeah, we will move that right into our Sunday slate. Actually, one thing I want to ask: do you think Mac, or we kind of pointed out all the injuries on the defensive side for the Jets? Is there any chance, anything they give Hassan Reddick back? Do you think he will be a Jet at some point this season?
I just think at this point they would have done it by now with all the injuries they've already had, and they haven't
He's
had
missing $800,000 a game. I just feel like he's just waiting and waiting. I feel like at some point they're gonna sign the deal.
You'd think it'd be done by now.
I don't know. That's crazy that he's not reporting. I mean, they could just trade him. Why don't they? Do they just holding out that hope that he comes back?
I guess they think he's gonna come back. I don't really know.
Hard to trade a player like that too. I mean, obviously, if he's doing it with the Jets with that roster, you think he'd do it with anyone.
Yeah, I know. That's good. Like, who would want to take him on now? Patriots offensive line pretty banged up too. 2 starters out, and David Andrews questionable, so that's another tough.
And we'll, like I said, move into our Sunday slate where we have the New York Giants heading to Cleveland. Cleveland, a 6.5-point favorite. Over under also at 38.5 in this one. Browns money line minus 300. Giants plus 240. Mackie, can your New York Giants get their first win of the year this week?
I'm gonna say no, but I don't think the Giants are as bad as everyone thinks. I know they're sitting at 2-0. They would have won that game last week if they had a kicker. If the kicker
Or
didn't
if
get
Malik
injured.
Neighbors caught that 4th down pass.
That too, but I mean they didn't have a kicker. That's genuinely the only reason that they lost that game. They had 3 touchdowns. Washington had 0. It's the first time ever a team has lost with 3 touchdowns, allowing 0, and lost the game. Daniel Jones, obviously, I think I'm not going to say
That's actually a crazy stat. I just pause for a second.
Insane.
What was it? They scored.
They give
3
up
touchdowns.
21 points through field goals, and they scored 3 touchdowns and got 0
18.
extra points.
It's just insane. Well, the kicker got hurt in the first.
Did they
I
go
knew
for
Gano
2 or
got
did they
hurt.
kick the extra points?
They went for 2 every time.
And they didn't get it any time.
No, they didn't get it any time.
They're brutal.
Of course they didn't get it. It's the Giants. Of course they didn't get it
Yeah,
any
I
time.
know. Like,
Damn,
come on.
if only they had a running back that could run it in from the 2-yard line. That'd
Yeah,
be crazy.
he's over there a few towns over. I would just
Right.
give it to Malik Neighbors and the Wildcat, maybe anything other than Daniel Jones getting the ball.
But what I was getting at is that I don't think the Giants are as bad as everyone thinks. I think that they can must out some wins this year, and I think they're going to be in games like this with the Browns. That offense isn't as good as it really should be with Deshaun Watson at helm, but he's not really playing that well. It's going to be a defensive game, I think. I think that the Browns will come out on top, but the 6.5 a little sketchy for a team like this.
I like the Browns to get the job done here because I think they're a playoff team eventually, and they have quarterback woes, but they have Chubb coming back eventually. I know Njoku's a little banged up in and out, but that defense is stacked. We talked about it a lot last year. We kind of preluded to that this year. Those Giants on the other side, Malik Neighbors really injected some life into that offense last week, going 10 for like 180 and a tutty. First one of his young career. He's really good. He's playing the part, but I'm eager to see how he does this week with Denzel Ward blanketing him in coverage. A good secondary and a good pass rush. I know they swing it out to Wandale and Malik a lot. But I don't think there's going to be many options for them. You take those 2 away, what else they got to do? I don't think anything. I think the Browns are able to muster up enough points. Jerome Ford looks pretty good. Watson can only get better from here.
I don't know if he can only get better. I mean, he's
either getting better or he's getting benched. So if he's benched, it's a better product with Jameis Winston.
That's a good way to put it.
The quarterback play can't get worse, I guess, because you either get a better version of himself or you get Jameis Winston to get a look. I like what the Browns have all around on both sides of the ball. They should be able to take this one home. Even though I shady thought if there was a Giants game to win, it would be this one. Then Deshaun Watson would have to be getting benched. I'm on the Browns.
Yeah, I like the under in this one as well. The 38.5. I think kind of like what Mackie said. I think it'll be a slower game. Browns offense hasn't looked great. Deshaun Watson is a major part of that. The injuries also all around the offensive side of the ball for them. Obviously, their defense, I like to shut down this poor Giants offense. I just don't think Cleveland will score too many points. Give me like Browns and maybe a 20-13 win, something like that. I think it's pretty realistic, and that would fit the spread at 6.5. So I do like that under 38.5. I think that'll be an ugly game. One I'm certainly not going to be tuning in for. I can tell you that. But
Huff, I'll tell you one thing though. With these points, a lot of these unders are hitting, but it is the year of the kicker so far. The year of running and defenses, like we said last week, more runs than passes for the first time in week 1 since I don't know how long. But the kickers are putting up massive numbers. We saw Fairbairn hitting from 50 plus for those Texans the other day. Seibert, like we said. And a lot of these, they're getting a lot better. Remember when there's a shortage in the league? Now it's like everybody can boom them from everywhere. So
yeah,
3 points are up there a lot more than.
Yeah. Another pretty ugly matchup. The Green Bay Packers with Malik Willis still under center, heading to Tennessee to take on the 0-2 Titans. Titans are a 1.5 point favorite here, minus 125 on the money line. Packers plus 105. Over under at 37.5. Mackie, take it away.
Revenge game.
Yeah, I'll just get this one out of the way. I will never bet on Will Levis until he actually shows me something. And like you said, Malik Willis against his old team, so maybe he'll prove something. There. He's 1-0 already. I know it's a lot of ground and pound. Packers had a pretty good defensive game last week against the Colts. But I like this Packers roster. I think they can get it done. I think Josh Jacobs might have a really big game, but I will never bet on the Titans until they actually
until Will Levis
favorites.
stops making memes of himself every week to lose the game.
Brutal.
In fact, you know what's crazy is they're literally right there in the game against like valid teams too. and they just can't put away. I guess I'm calling the Bears valid, but they are
Yeah, I
this
wouldn't
year.
call it Bears valid. Just
Yeah, but still, I'm saying like they're in the game against teams that are better than them. They should be getting crushed by, and they're right there. And Will Levis, 4 turnovers that turned into a meme, cost them the game. It's crazy to think they should have beat the Jets last week. Honestly, he had some good late plays. I think he had that touchdown to Ridley. Maybe
Ridley had two. Ridley had a hell of a game in that game.
yeah, and DeAndre Hopkins nowhere to be found. Traylon Burks, that top pick they had after the AJ Brown trade, nowhere to be found. So it's got to be someone. Tony Pollard's looked pretty decent week 1, more so than week 2. They got Tyjae Spears back there too. But
It's
this
been Tyler Boyd and Calvin Ridley, the two
and
free
those are good
agent
players,
additions.
though. Those
Yeah.
are good. They're two good players. I mean, I know a lot of our team. Hoff, you would have liked to have had either of those guys. I definitely would have as well.
Yeah.
But this Titans team, it's a tough thing. Is Malik Willis having a revenge game? I think Malik Willis is terrible. There's no quarterback controversy. Or is it Will Levis showcasing that he's good? Or are we just going to get a battle of the bad and see an under again? Mackie, you said that Packers defense looked good, and people are chirping me on my Instagram post. It's blown up still. You people got to remember it's from preseason take. But the Packers have a good defense, have a good team, regardless of Jordan Love, so they can be in the mix for any single one, as we saw last week being the Anthony Richardson Colts. So I'm going to take them here this week as underdogs again. Malik Willis isn't good, though.
Yeah, I assume you both are kind of in the same boat, unless you're more confident than you're making it seem. I lean on the Packers in this spot. I'm not going to be betting on this game.
Agreed.
I don't like this spot at all. I think it is a little sketchy seeing the Titans 0-2 get points going up against the quarterback that just left this team. Obviously, not saying he was much of a threat when he was on the Titans or now with the Packers. Yeah, I'm good on this game. I lean on the Packers. Nothing official there. Our next 1:00 game, we have Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears heading to Indianapolis to take on Anthony Richardson and the Colts. Colts are no, Bears are 1-1.
1-1. Oh, yeah.
Colts beat the Titans in week 1. Colts are a 1-point favorite, -120 on the money line, and the Bears are +100 with an over/under at 43.5. This is just a spot where I usually like 0-2 teams at home to bounce back in week 3. This is a Colts team that not most people on the outside thought, but I think they had a lot of playoff aspirations. Year 2 under Shane Steichen, a healthy year with Anthony Richardson if they could get that. Jonathan Taylor back in the mix. They have some nice pieces on offense with Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman. I like a lot of things over there with that Indy team. I'm just not sold on the Chicago Bears team yet. I'm going to go with the Colts to get their first win of the year. Give me the Colts on the money line. I'm going to avoid that -1. Just give me the money line -120. I'll take that to the bank.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is I love that the Bears have a win under their belt because 0-2, much teams would be playing much hungrier. Colts are going to be playing hungry. Anthony Richardson, mixed bag, good and bad here and there. They were out of that game, then they were in it 2 weeks ago. Great game against the Texans, but fell short. You mentioned Alec Pierce. That connection's been very strong, even though he's the wide receiver 4 or possibly even 5 in that wide receiver room. Loaded. Michael Pittman's looked like a shell of himself as he doesn't even
Donnie Mitchell's
rock.
been like non-existent.
Yeah, Josh Downs hasn't even come back yet, but that connection between Richardson and Pierce probably stemming from Richardson's rookie camp days of getting that security blanket and the deep threat potential. I think that's going to come to fruition. Jonathan Taylor's probably the best player on the field, him or Richardson, in this matchup, in my opinion. I think Keenan Allen might be back this week. If he is, I think he has a decent game whenever he suits up for that Bears team. I'm not high on O'Dunn's, not high on Williams yet, even though I think he has a better future ahead of him. That running back room, Swift's look okay, but that's a weird team. They make bad decisions. They should be 0-2. I think that this Colts team is much better than what they played like so far. Anthony Richardson, just put it all together, give us a complete matchup here, and give me the Indianapolis Colts. You might see this one on my card. This is one of my favorite plays of the week.
Yeah, you probably will see this on my card. I should reiterate that.
I'm just going to go with the under here. I don't trust either team. I think Anthony Richardson's played pretty bad football, turns the ball over too much. Sloppy play, but I don't know. I don't think Caleb's got his feet under him yet, but I think he has a bright future. I'm just going to go with the under here. I think both defenses have a pretty good game.
I'll tell you what, though, watching those Bears in the primetime really got me to take a look at that defense. There's a few guys that kind of turned into good pieces. It's funny when people make fun of that Bryce Young, Caleb Williams trade with all those pieces they got back and forth. You take everybody out of it, even the quarterbacks, even DJ Moore, who's great. They got good pieces and future picks, too. That guy, Tyreek Stevenson, they got with the second-round pick. He was all over the field. I don't know if you guys noticed that last week. And then who's that safety on the back end for the Bears? He seems to be in every play. Is it Jaquan Brisker, I believe?
Yeah, Jaquan Brisker. He's been there for a couple of years. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's good. He was a top pick by them, supposed to come in and change that defense. It seems like Yaz leading that group. pretty feisty too.
Him and what's the other guy? Jalen Johnson. That's like the heart of their
And I like
defensive
that.
back.
Like I said, Tyreek Stevenson, I think he's going to come along too. So that team's getting frisky. I just think they're not there yet. Like Mackie said, Caleb Williams doesn't have his feet on him. So I'm going to take A-Rich at home here. AR-15, former nickname. He's got to get on. Oh.
Yeah, I agree. Mac, you said the under 43.5?
Yeah.
All right, another 1 o'clock game. Our first 2-0 versus 2-0 matchup on the slate. The Houston Texans heading to Minnesota to take on Sam Darnold and the Vikings. Vikings are a 1.5-point home dog here. Over under at 46. Texans money line minus 130 and the Vikings money line at plus 110. I like the Texans in this matchup. I think this is a favorable line for them. Obviously, I think most people would agree that they're the better team in this spot, especially going up against a Vikings team. The preseason, if you would have showed anyone this line, Texans versus Vikings in week 3, and the Texans were only a 1.5-point favorite, I think a lot of people would jump all over that. Yeah, the money's going to be heavy on Houston in this spot, I think, but I think this is a deflated line. I think they should be laying more points. The fact that the Vikings have looked this good to start the season with Kevin O'Connell, the way he's coaching, the way Sam Darnold's playing, that revenge factor last week against the 49ers, his most recent team. I think they kind of come back to earth here, fall to 2-1. Give me the Texans minus the 1.5 points.
Who am I more scared of? The Minnesota Vikings or the New Orleans Saints? I want to hammer the Texans.
I'd be more scared of the Saints. They have a way better defense.
Yeah, you'll probably see them in my card, but Sam Darnold, former first-round pick with the best wide receiver in the league, who saved everybody from that injury scare. I think he's going to be a go come Sunday. Justin Jefferson and him have had that connection already. I guess I could throw him the ball. Any three of us could go out there and throw the ball. Justin Jefferson will have a 99-yard touchdown. But Sam Darnold's doing everything right. Aaron Jones has looked great when he's healthy. They got Josh Naylor, I believe, getting touchdowns as well with Jordan Addison on the show.
I think Josh Naylor is on the.
I was gonna say, I think he plays
Guardians.
first base for the Guardians.
Yeah, what's that rookie receiver's name that's filling Addison's role right now? Is it Naylor?
It might be Naylor, but it's definitely not Josh Naylor.
Yeah, Naylor.
I actually kind of hope his name's Josh Naylor.
Yeah, it's gotta be, right? Like,
I mean, Ace, I'm pulling it up. Keep going.
I think he scored last week, but Sam Darnold's making everything look good. He's making the right decisions. I know that the Vikings have the history of beating the Niners, so we can't overreact. But they beat the San Francisco 49ers. Let's overreact a little bit. Is it just
Jalen Naylor? It's spelled differently though.
Jalen
Naylor's Naylor's Nailor.
Yeah.
The baseball player's Ylor.
Yeah. So I knew it was someone with a J and a Naylor. They kind of play in that northern part of the United States, so it's pretty close. I don't
Midwest.
know. I bet you if they flip spots, he'd still be catching touchdowns from Sam Darnold because that's how good Sam Darnold's played to date. The defense looked pretty valid too. You know what I love about Minnesota is their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. Not so much their head coach is crazy, but they have two of the best schemes. We saw Brock Purdy say it in his post-game handshake with them. He's like, that scheme he got's going crazy. So hopefully he can do that again this week, but I'm just going to be all over the Texans here. I just gassed up those Vikings so hard, but just for them to get crushed by the Texans because they're one of the best teams in the NFL. CJ Stroud's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Am I crazy to say he's the second best quarterback in the NFL? Maybe, maybe not. And I think that with all of the weapons they have in offense, even if Joe Mixon is held out of this game, I think they have a big enough game on offense to get the job done. Remain on.
Yeah, I like the over in this game. I think the line is. I think it's a perfect line if we're being honest here. I think that Sam Darnold's played great football to this point. For him to close that game out against the reigning NFC champions with no TJ Hawkinson, no Jordan Addison, no Justin Jefferson, be able to do what he's done. I don't think it's a fluke. I think he's just kind of playing great football right now. He leaves the Jets. Everyone who leaves the Jets finds a way to find their stride here, and he's finding it in Minnesota right now. They're home. I think that adds a few bonus points here for the Vikings. But I mean, the other side of the ball, you have CJ Stroud, who is playing like a top 2 quarterback in the NFL right now. So you never really want to bet against him, but this is going to be a really good game. It's going to be a battle between two quarterbacks playing really good football right now, and I think you're going to see a lot of points, a lot of offense in this game.
I love that over pick too, Mackie. If Jefferson does in fact get ruled out, I know he's looking more probable than questionable now, but if somehow he's out this Sunday, do you still like the over?
Yeah, I do. I think it'll drop 1.5 points. I think you'll see a 3.5, 4 point spread for the Texans as well. But I think this is going to be a really good game regardless. I think both offenses
Firing on
will get
all
rolling
cylinders
regardless.
right
You know,
now.
Aaron Jones has been playing pretty good football as well. So
Minus
there's
that fumble. Oh my God, he
that was
almost
pretty
cost them.
brutal.
He almost
That was
cost them the
brutal.
game. They were about to walk away. The game was over. Drops it on the one. But yeah, I agree. He's looked great too. I'm a big fan. I like what they're doing. They're schooling up there.
Yeah,
Team
it's
so
a
far.
pretty good game.
They're pressing
Pretty
for
good
the
game.
playoffs. Everybody doubted me. I know I said it with McCarthy, but that's fine. I even said it with Darnold. I own that.
See, it works both ways. Like, you can sometimes, like, obviously you said the Packers, they're now without Jordan Love for how many weeks? You said the Vikings, it kind of worked out for you. You'd almost
backup
rather Sam Darnold in there now.
Yeah, the backup quarterback's just
Yeah.
rolling. Let him roll.
Yeah. It's just however you spin it. You just got to make the positive spin zone about it. But
Always.
our next 1:00 game, an NFC matchup, Philadelphia Eagles heading to New Orleans to take on the 2-0 Saints. Saints are a 2.5-point favorite, -150 on the money line. Eagles +125. Over under at 49.5. Ace, which way do you lean on this one? Eagles, Saints.
I lean on the Eagles, but I want to bet on the Eagles so bad, but I don't know if I can bet on this team. I said it last week. People loved the Cowboys. I think you carted them off. I was like, no, be wary of these Saints. Like, they're good.
Did I? No, I took the Rams and the Chiefs.
Did someone end up carding them? I'm not too sure.
Mackey did. Mackey
Yeah.
had Cowboys -6.
And it's because he missed the Sunday live stream last week.
tried-
I told you. I said it. I said, this Cowboys team is great in there at home, but this Saints team, until the wheels fall off for Derek Carr, stay away. Like, he's on fire right now. Defense on fire. They scored like 100 points in 2 weeks. Alvin Kamara, player of the week, 4 tutties. Like, this team's scaring me right now. Until they get beaten, I'm staying away from any game they're in. Maybe
I'm
they'll buy
just
in.
gonna, dude. You're literally taking the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say I like the Eagles in this game. I also don't want to fade the Saints right now, but I feel like the moment I hop on the Saints, they're gonna fall
They're
flat
gonna
on their
lose.
face
Yeah.
and
Oh,
look
yeah.
like the New Orleans Saints I thought they would.
Yeah, and we got to give him credit, though. I mean, Derek Carr doing his thing, written off by a lot of people.
Derek Carr is balling, and you guys are like surprised by this, but okay, I'm not gonna say I'm not surprised he's playing this well. But you guys literally had this guy behind Bryce Young last year. You guys had him behind Desmond Ridder. You guys said he was the worst quarterback in the NFC South.
Low key, still give me Bryce Young over Derek Carr.
Yeah, okay, you're just yapping now. But dude, this guy's a very
Bryce Young's the next Baker Mayfield. That's what everyone
he's the
keeps
perfect-
saying.
he is the perfect like good mid quarterback. Him and like
Who?
Kirk Cousins, I think, are on the same level.
Him, Kirk Cousins, are 2 white quarterbacks.
They're that
exactly
same tier.
like
Like,
each other.
but if Kirk Cousins was like the top of that tier, I'd put Derek Carr like right behind him.
Derek Carr's like the Matt Stafford.
I'd take Kirk Cousins over Derek Carr. He's still not the best quarterback in his division.
I'd take Derek Carr over Kirk Cousins now. I don't know.
I think
And
it's
Baker.
a really good. I think that's a really close call.
Anybody
This
throwing on the
isn't
Derek
today-
Carr futures MVP? I saw some people like that's a popular bet. I think it was the most popular bet of the week is Derek Carr's MVP future at like +4,000.
Yeah, I'm good on that one. Save your money.
$10 to win 400 though.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, me too. But I'm gonna stay away on this game. I think it's gonna be a good game though. I mean, I think the Eagles are a good team. If they're without AJ Brown, that kind of scares me too.
Kamara and Barkley, can they both get in? That's kind of the easy play. I feel like a lot
You'd
of people
think,
will
right?
take
Just
in this
like
game.
Barkley and Bijan, you'd think both of them got in, and neither of
Yeah.
them get in. So
But in the
But it's
1 o'clock,
Sunday.
in the
Sunday at
1
1
o'clock
o'clock.
games, that kind of stuff happens though.
I kind of like the over in this one, even though there's 2 good defenses. I don't know,
Eagles,
though.
Eagles haven't been that good of a defense so far.
No, but I mean, even the Saints, I mean, they're scoring a lot, so it doesn't matter that they've been giving them up. But your Cowboys put up last week. They backdoored like 30 points.
19.
Oh, 19. They could have had more. But, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the over in this one. I don't know why. I think these 2 teams are going to have a little bit of a shootout as they try and assert dominance in the NFC.
All right, we'll get into another 1 o'clock matchup, another matchup of 2-2-0 teams. The LA Chargers heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Steelers are a 1.5-point favorite in this one, -125 on the money line with the Chargers at +105, over under at 35.5. I believe that is our lowest of the week, as I would expect with the Steelers offense. Let's see. Yeah, that is the lowest.
Most scores.
35.5. I'll get us started here. I will be at this game. Obviously, I'm not going to pick against my Steelers. I'm not huge on what I've seen from the offense through 2 weeks. Obviously, 1 touchdown in 2 weeks. Ace, you kind of said it. It's been the year of the kickers. They're kind of relying on kickers more than ever. I could see that right now with the Steelers offense. It seems like as soon as they get on the other side of the field, they just know that Boswell's getting close to range. They get in that range and they're just comfortable with running it around. I'd like to see Fields maybe stand in the pocket, actually look at his second option rather than just look at Pickens and then run. I think our offense could do a little bit more. The defense, I can't say anything more about. They look phenomenal. That's why the Steelers are 2-0, and I think that's what will get them to 3-0. J.K. Dobbins on fire for the Chargers. I have him in my one fantasy league. I took him to score last week against the Panthers, not on the card. That was just a great hit that I wish I would have taken. Yeah,
Me too. It was so close, and I
dude,
took it off.
I loved that play too. I don't know why I didn't do it. Yeah, I like this Chargers team. Ace, we said it. Once Justin Herbert gets a new coach, this is going to be a different team. I know this is an overreaction with them at 2-0. I didn't have them as a playoff team. I think they will be in that picture, but I think they get a loss here. I also like the under 35.5 just because of the way the Steelers make people play. Give me a 17-14 Steelers victory.
Jump in the gun. Jump in the gun.
Jersey hanging in the room. He's got the jersey hanging in his room, Mackie. It's the Pittsburgh TJ Watts. The Pittsburgh TJ Watts.
Jump in the gun on Herbert again. He's beating the
Herbert's
Raiders.
better than Carr, buddy. Relax. He's better than
Mackie, this is a win-win for me. You either defend my Justin Herbert point or take the Steelers here.
His Herbert point's more long-term, I think, though.
Yeah, it is. I think Herbert can be a very good quarterback, but I'm not saying he's
looked good though.
Dude, he's played the Raiders defense.
Justin Herbert's a top 10 quarterback.
No, I didn't say he's played.
Okay, you're talking about top 10 last year. At this point, you guys are talking about him being like top 4. So okay,
no, never 4.
My argument is winning right now.
4.
Easily,
we might have.
He's signed that
highest,
deal.
Maybe 7 or 8, the highest.
I've never put him over. I've never put him over Jalen Hurts. This is why we recorded.
Go back and listen. Yes, you did. Oh my God. Yes,
There's no way I put him over Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, and Lamar. No way I put him over those 4.
Ace, do you think we had him over Jalen Hurts? I don't think we did.
I might have. I think Jalen Hurts.
Everybody had him top 5. Everybody had him top 5 when he signed that deal before the season started last year.
I might have. I might have had him 5.
And I
still think he can get back there.
I think I had him at 6.
He could get back there if he gets some important wins.
He has no weapons. He's making Quentin Johnson good.
Well, Quentin Johnson's playing good, and also he has 3 touchdowns in 2 games. He's really not playing that good, but I'll get into it. I think the Steelers will get the job done here. I just think that they're the more deserving 2-0 team. I think they have more hard-fought wins, and because of their defense, they're getting the job done. Whereas on the other side, you're just seeing the Chargers. You're just seeing the Chargers.
Also, a home opener here in Week 3. That's a rare home opener in Week 3.
On the other side, you're just seeing the Chargers play some shit teams, but Steelers sitting at 2-0. Obviously, Chargers too. I think that the Chargers are kind of sitting on a fluke right now. Steelers might be a bit of a fluke as well, but their defense is definitely not a fluke. So I'm going to go with TJ Watt and those Steelers. Maybe you could see something out of Justin Fields this week against a pretty weak defense. Even though that defense is playing really well this year. They've only given up 13 points in 2 games. I think it's
2 bad teams. That's where I'll give you your 2 bad teams.
So now it's 2 bad teams, and we're talking. Okay, just. But
give me only play the teams they scheduled, dude. I don't know what you want me to say. It's kind of like Aces Celtics last year. Like I don't know what you wanted to say.
Give me the Steelers. Give me the Steelers.
That's what I mean.
Shitty
you only play the teams they put in front of you.
Yeah, there's nobody in the NBA. That league stinks. It's just the Celtics league and everybody else. They should go play the rest of the world.
Oh my God, how do you find a way to talk about the Celtics?
Hey, I got it brought up. I get the rebuttal. It's like the debate right here. But no, talking about those Chargers, haven't the Steelers played 2 bad teams too? I mean,
Steelers beat a team. Yeah. Before last week, how high were the Eagles on your power rankings?
Yeah, but how low were the Falcons on everybody's power rankings before they beat the Eagles?
Well, because we just saw them lost to the Steelers, and like, oh, they lost to a shit team. Then they go in and they beat. It's
probably also a week 1 overreaction. I think the Steelers
have a more. What I'm saying is they have a way more credible win than the Chargers. Even
I agree. But I will say this though: you said that you thought the Chargers were frauds. I think Huff, but I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the most fraudulent 2-0 team. He didn't say this. 1 touchdown. 1.
I said that.
2 games.
I said less fraudulent. I didn't say that they weren't fraudulent. I just said the Steelers are less fraudulent.
Yeah, that's valid. I think the Chargers, though, are the second best team in their division, though, which helps. They're in a much easier spot. That's why I said this before the year, and I still believe it. That they can push for the 7th seed in the AFC. They're already 2-0, and they've only played 1 divisional game. They get the Broncos twice and the Raiders 1 more time. There should be 3 more wins, in my opinion. They also brought in a Harbaugh. Those guys just know how to win. I like what they did bringing in J.K. Dobbins. Did you know his deal is only like $1.6 million? Don't know why anybody else bought in on Mac. You guys should have zoned in on J.K. Dobbins because that's a flyer that you take note on. Only only can get success out of that. It's a high ceiling pick. And they have Gus Edwards in front of him. As long as he's healthy, he's going to roll. I like Quentin Johnson stepping up too. Maybe that sophomore year comeback player of the year type shit. I don't know if it's that. Maybe a breakout type thing though. But I think these Lad McConkey too and Palmer. But I think these Chargers, I lean them to win this game. Am I going to bet them? No, because it's in Heinz Field, home opener, and that defense looks fucking great. But I don't know. If the Steelers win this game, it definitely goes under. So I'd go Steelers in the under, or I'd just go with the Chargers outright. I have the Chargers outright already in a parlay, so long shots have been pinned in from the beginning of the week. So I lean them. Will I card this? I don't know, but I like the value on this Chargers team. I think they're the better team all around, much better quarterback in this game. But the Steelers at home with that defense, can't bet against.
All right, our last 1 o'clock game, the Denver Broncos heading to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. Bucks are a 7-point favorite, over under at 39.5, and the Bucks money line minus 350 with the Broncos at plus 260.
Tough. I said this on both live streams. I've guaranteed 2 wins on the live streams, and I didn't card them. I played them off the card at plus like 370. The Patriots to beat the Bengals in week 1, and it was the Bucks to beat the Lions in week 2. I didn't even take the spread. I just didn't touch it because everybody gassing up these Lions scared me. I don't know why, but I think Baker Mayfield is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'd throw my MVP ticket on him before I throw it on Derek Carr. With the weapons he has, the way his game just keeps elevating year over year, week by week, I think he hasn't even plateaued yet. This guy has a high ceiling, great roster around them. This Tampa Bay team's had success ever since Tom Brady went there. It just changed the whole culture. That's a good football team now. They have a great defense. We saw it last year that carried them. They have a good running game, great wide receivers, decent tight end, good coaching staff. I like the Bucks to cover the spread here. I think this team might run away with this NFC South. I think they're going to be scary in the whole NFC. Baker Mayfield, maybe he's due for his time to start coming. Give me the Bucks minus 7.
Yeah, Baker's definitely playing like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. Obviously, taking down those Lions last week was huge. Said a lot about that team. A little banged up on the defensive side of the ball too, with Vita Vea being out. And I think there's 1 or 2 other guys that are out on that side of the ball. But this is a little bit of a sketchy spread. I feel like they should be more towards like the 7.5, 8 sitting here at home. I do think that they kind of roll this game. I think that they cover the spread easily, but definitely not. I don't think I'm going to be touching this one. I think that I don't know. I don't like the spread here. I think you're going to see a lot of money on the Broncos or on the Bucks. And
There is.
But
There
Bo
is.
Nix is just an automatic turnover machine, and that does scare me with the public, the way they've been banged this year. I think one of you sent that stat. But Bo Nix just gives the ball to the other team. Huff, you saw that last week in your Steelers game. Whenever you think you need to stop, it's like, oh, don't worry, Bo Nix is going to give it right to you. They can't throw. The Bucks are great at stopping the run, so they're going to force Bo Nix to throw.
Broncos have a decent defense, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but they can't cover everybody. This is a good matchup for them because 13 can't cover Godwin and Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin looks like a wide receiver 1 in himself.
Yeah, I also don't love this game. I kind of lean Denver to keep it close just because they kept Seattle to 6 at a backdoor cover. They lost to my Steelers in a low-scoring game. I think it'll look better. I think this is the week for them to do it. Obviously, 0-2. They went with their rookie quarterback to start. I think he'll show you something this week. Bucks are riding all-time high after a huge win last week in Detroit. Coming back home against a lesser opponent, I'd look for the Denver to maybe hang around in this one.
This one's in Tampa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. I know.
I think Bo Nix is going to have a brutal game. My pickup of the week in fantasy was the Bucks defense across all my leagues, and I'm starting them up. I think they roll this week. You're going to see Bucks minus 7 on my card. I love this Bucks team. I'm so low on the Broncos. They don't know how to put points up.
I think it looks too easy. When it looks too easy, it's never that easy.
That does scare me. That's the only thing that scares me is the public and, like you said, trap game, I guess. But like, I don't know. This Broncos team has shown me zero. Yeah. That Seahawks team, I don't think they're good. We're gonna get to that point. And then we know the Steelers can't score either. But the Steelers, great defense. They couldn't. This Broncos team's embarrassing.
We will move into the 4 o'clock slate with Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers heading to Las Vegas to take on Gardner Minshew and the Raiders. Raiders are now a 5.5-point favorite in this matchup. Over under at 40. Raiders money line minus 250 and Panthers money line plus 200. Mackie, the game of the week. Where do you go? Panthers, Raiders.
Oh God.
Panthers definitely got better with Andy Dalton, I'll say that. But I don't know. It's a really shitty football game. I don't even really want to talk about it. I don't really have a play on it. I'm just gonna say Raiders -5. No, I'm gonna say give me the Panthers. Give me the
I'm gonna
Panthers.
say all right. Yeah, well, I'll just keep it quick on this one.
Just
I'm
for the
gonna say
sake of
Panthers
conversation.
too, just for the sake of Andy Dalton comes in, and I always love to take the new quarterback, the new head coach. Give me the Panthers to hang around in this one. The line dropped 2 points when Andy Dalton was announced, which is really weird.
I thought
the
Andy
over went
Dalton.
up.
Yeah, Andy Dalton is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton's good. I mean, he's gonna have a good game, and I think the Panthers are gonna win. I might take them as dogs outright. I think they beat this Raiders team. Raiders fraudulent team. Max Crosby probably have a good game, maybe a strip sack. But Andy Dalton's gonna get. Those are actually pretty good receiving options that he has. Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Xavier Leggett. I think they're gonna have a good game here. Fire up your Panthers guys because Andy Dalton's gonna get them revitalized.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's about the most we'll talk on that game. You will not hear that about from us on Sunday live stream. I can tell you that. We'll do this one next, Mackie. Baltimore heading to Dallas.
Fire.
Dallas, a 1-point home underdog, over under at 48.5. Cowboys money line -105. Ravens -115. Ravens obviously 0-2 on the year. Cowboys coming off a home loss to the Saints after, I believe it was 8-0 last year, or some insane straight winning streak in Jerry's world. Do they get back to the winning streak down there in Dallas and make the Ravens 0-3?
Here, that's the big question here: is do the Ravens start 0-3? And that it's really hard to bet against a team like that to lose 3 games in a row. But I mean, Dallas coming off of that performance, you gotta expect them to bounce back. You gotta expect that defense finds a way to get things under control. They let Alvin Kamara absolutely tear them up last week. You're gonna need a ball hawk there with Lamar Jackson's legs the entire game. But the Ravens have not shown any bit of, in my opinion, any bit of I don't even know what the
Fourth quarter versus the Chiefs.
I don't even know. What about fourth quarter against the Chiefs?
They looked like a valid football team. Their
That
defense
was about the
stepped up
only
when they-
time in 8 quarters they've looked like a valid football team. They let the Ravens hang around the entire game. They were up 10 points with 7 minutes left against one of the worst teams in the league. They let it slip away. Obviously, they were in a one-possession game against the Chiefs. They were about a hair away from tying that football game up. But obviously, that's just the way it goes. But they didn't even look like they deserved to be in that game for most of the time. So I'm not even going to say that was a great performance. They got to find a way to get their heads out of their ass. I think Lamar Jackson is still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, obviously. So I think that they can get it done. But this is going to be a really tough situation to go into. Go into Jerry's world 0-2 against a Dallas team that just got their shit kicked in. They're going to be really hungry. So I'm not confident in taking the Cowboys here. I think they get the job done. But, I mean, for the Ravens to start 0-3 would be insane.
Yeah,
Be all-time hilarious.
Hungry is an understatement for both these teams, I think. You got your ass kicked in your home opener, and you are 0-2. You lost to the Raiders in your home opener, and you had a shitty way to end week 1. I think there's a lot of points in this matchup. 2 great defenses, though, which is crazy to say. But these teams got to get going. You got to think Lamar and Dak get going a little bit more. Derrick Henry, maybe he finds the end zone this week as he did last week and the week before. I think he's almost a lock to get in every week almost. So I might be adding that on my card, if not parlaying it with another guy I did with Breece Hall. That Ravens defense is going to have its hands full with CeeDee Lamb. I know Roquan Smith's going to shut down whatever kind of running game they try to throw at him, because the Cowboys don't really have one this year. But yeah, I know, but he's going against the best middle linebacker in the league. It's going to be a tough matchup. I don't know what to think about this one. Yeah, I agree. Best in his conference. I'm not going with either side in this one. I don't know if you guys strongly like anyone in this one, Mac. I know you're rooting for.
I'm not confident in the Cowboys at all.
This is one we're gonna watch, but not bet on.
Yeah,
which is sad to say.
This is one I do lean on the Cowboys here as well. I don't know if I'll at least put it on my card. I lean on them in the sense more that I like more the Ravens to continue their struggles rather than the fact that the Cowboys are going to lose back-to-back home games. I know last week was a kind of an interesting game against the Saints. Them coming in, they could have looked at that as a look-ahead spot. Oh, shit, we get the Ravens coming to town next week. Not a lot of people are thinking a lot about the Saints. They just kicked the shit out of the Panthers in week 1. Was that an overreaction on the Saints? Clearly not, because now they just came into Dallas and got a huge win. They're 2-0. Dallas is looking at 1-1. They lose this game. They're 1-2. Give me the Cowboys to defend their home field. I don't think they're going to lose 2 straight home games. I think Dak has a monster game. I also think there's points in this one. I could see Dak maybe 3 touchdowns. I think this will be a higher scoring matchup.
I'd love that, Huff. I'd love that. It's gonna be a really good game, though. I'm
I
excited.
think this. I think
it's gonna be
this
tough.
could be a CD Lamb 2-touchdown, like just like one of those big games that have a day. CD Lamb, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they just go to what works for them.
One thing I will say though, I think Lamar Jackson is a big game on the ground. I don't really know who's going to be able to contain him. I know you have Mike Parsons on one side, but in the middle of the field, I don't really see anybody great to do that. I might take his props there. This is a prop game for me, if anything, but I'm not touching the side. I'm just going to enjoy this great matchup between two powerhouses that started off not as hot as they'd like.
Yeah, you definitely didn't think these teams would be a combined 1-3 going into this game, but
Super early.
definitely still 2 top teams in the league, in my opinion.
All right, our next matchup is the Miami Dolphins heading to Seattle. Seattle is a 4.5-point home favorite. The over/under at 41.5. Seahawks minus 225 on the money line, and the Dolphins at plus 180. Skylar Thompson will be starting for the Dolphins in this matchup, and the Seahawks are 2-0. Do you like the Seahawks to handle business? I like them to get a win here. I feel like this would be a nice 2-leg parlay piece. Get the Seahawks in another, one of those teams sitting right around that minus 250 range. I like the Seahawks to win this game. I don't know about the 4.5. Do you like Skylar Thompson to perhaps maybe hang around in this game?
Yeah, I do, and it's not going to be Skylar Thompson hanging around. I think it's going to be Devin Achane really eating on the ground. He looked fucking great last week. He always does, honestly. Even though he was injured, he found the end zone again. You got to think
he's always injured, though.
You want to know what's nice, though, about Skylar Thompson this week is he has a week off to actually prepare with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and maybe figure it out. Mike McDaniel, one of the best schemers in the league. I think this Seahawks team is just fraudulent. They're in a great spot, though. They've been gifted.
It's a good defense. It is a good defense. I will say that. With the pieces they have, Woolen,
even against the
Witherspoon.
Patriots, they played 2 weak teams, the Broncos and the Patriots. I got a good look at them last week. Kenneth Walker might be back this week, but Charbonnet is a good running back, too. So I'm not worried about what they can do on offense. I know what they got. I don't think Gino's great, but he's good enough. DK's great. They got a solid run game. So they're going to put up between like 17 and 24 points. But I don't know. There's a chance that this Dolphins team, they have big plays waiting to happen. I think this could be one of my upsets of the week. I might look into this money line here. I'm not going to probably bet it because Skylar Thompson isn't good, and he sucks, and he's not good. But the rest of the team is good around them. I think the Dolphins are a better team on paper. If Tua was hurt, how much are we taking the Dolphins here?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what scares me about anyone else other than Tua stepping into that offense. Obviously in this instance, it's Skylar Thompson. Is that offense is so built for Tua and the deep ball with Tyreek and like the gadget plays with Waddle and like all those motions with obviously not Mostert because he's been hurt, but Achane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see how he steps in here. That's why I lean on the Seahawks to get a win. It's a hard place to go play. These got to be like the 2 furthest franchises away from each other too. So that's a hell of a road trip.
Tough home field too.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks. I like them to win. I don't like the 4.5.
What's tough is Tua's out with another injury. Prayers up for him. Hopefully we see him back on the field soon, or if he's retired, cheers up to him, even though I know he said he doesn't want to. If he's out for an extended period, though, do you think they should bring in a different quarterback? I don't think Skylar Thompson's the answer, and they still have the window to get into the playoffs.
Do you think they go get a guy like Bryce Young? Because I think that's where he should go.
I think they should get Mac Jones.
That's actually not another bad option, I would say, for like a gap quarterback because they don't know if Tua is out for the year.
Tyrod Taylor, like anybody that there's a lot of good backup quarterbacks still kicking around the league that I would kick the tires on if Tua's out for. You don't know how long Tua's out for.
Justin Fields.
Russell Wilson's the backup there, buddy.
Well, not technically not yet, according to Tom.
What about how Justin Fields gifted the game ball and the win to Russell Wilson?
That's brutal.
That's just tough. Like, Russell Wilson got little brothered by Justin Fields.
Yeah, he's like, hey,
in a game where he scored 1 touchdown.
He's like, hey, I know you didn't get to play, but here's the ball, buddy.
Yeah, like what do you call it? The petty ball.
Yeah, he called it the petty game ball. That's a tough accept.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the next one. Tough game there with the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Obviously, and then we got 49ers at Rams divisional matchup here. With the 49ers at 1-1, Rams at 0-2 after a tough loss in Arizona last week.
This should be the easy pick with the 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers 7.5-point favorite over under at 44.5. 49ers money line minus 350, and the Rams at plus 280. Do you think this is a get-right game for the 49ers come out, or do you like the Rams to I'm
The
definitely
Rams
not
can
going to be
keep it
surprised.
close.
I was just going to say, I don't think the Rams are going to get a win here. I think they will start 0-3, but I think they could keep it respectable.
Yeah, I mean, you really think that the Sean McVay offense? I know Sean McVay and Stafford and Kyler are there.
They're
but
so
is it going to
injured,
be Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson, and Colby Parkinson being them? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And their O-line's banged up. Their O-line's really banged up, which that's the biggest scare me factor with the 49ers coming to town because they can get after the passer. We know that. I don't know how they're going to score points, but maybe they can keep it competitive. It's a brutal defense, though. I think that George Kittle has a massive game, and Jordan Mason continues his dominance of 2 weeks as a 49er starter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I don't like betting on this 49ers team to begin with because they always get the big spreads, and now you don't get McCaffrey. They're coming off a loss.
No Debo.
Divisional matchup. This is a weird spot for them. I'm going to stay away from this game, even though I do think the 49ers get the win. Maybe I do the Seahawks and 49ers.
Is that a survival
win.
pick, the Niners, maybe?
I think they could be. I like you take Seahawks money line, 49ers money line. It's -117 on MGM. I like that.
The top dogs of the NFC West. I mean, my favorite, second favorite team in the West, we haven't even talked about yet. So.
Yeah, they're in this next game. That's kind of the same thing with me. With Detroit heading to Arizona. Arizona a 3-point home underdog in this matchup. +125 on the money line. Lions -150 and over under at 51.5. Both teams Cardinals coming off a big win against the Rams. Lions coming off a loss against the Bucks. Which way do you go here against these two 1-1 teams?
The over. I love the over here this week. Kyler Murray's playing great football. Marvin Harrison has the resurgence. James Conner is one of the top running backs in the league. I bet you guys kind of wish you still had him, right?
Yeah, definitely would still take him. He was so bad when we got rid of him, though. So, at the time, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, but letting him get back to his form now, he's a run-in pass option that finds the end zone week in and week out. Kyler Murray looking like his old self a little bit. Don't trust that defense, and I think that the running game for the Lions has a day once again because Montgomery keeps finding the end zone. Gibbs keeps getting more carries than he did last year. They're just looking like a good team, those Lions are. I don't think they're as good as people think they are. I think they could be pressed for that North even, but I think they get a win this week in a shootout with the Cardinals. My favorite play is the over here, though.
Yeah, I kind of lean the same way. I want to take the Cardinals here to win this game. I don't love the Lions coming off a loss. I don't think that team is that good and starts 1-2. But I will agree with you on the fact that this game I like going over 51.5. Lions are always the high-scoring team. Cardinals have looked like that the past couple of weeks, putting up 20-something in Buffalo and then 40-something on their home field. Give me this game to go over. I like that 51.5 for sure.
High one, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And then Sunday Night Football, we have Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a weird matchup. Heading to the Falcons to take on Kirk Cousins and Atlanta. Atlanta is a 3.5-point home underdog, +155 on the money line with the Chiefs at -190, over under at 46.5. Which way do you go on this one? Falcons coming off a big win on Monday Night Football, back and then the next week in Sunday night in the prime time. Which one do you like here?
I like the Chiefs here. I mean, it's in the prime time. Patrick Mahomes in the prime time. I feel like especially in the Sunday night slate, always snaps. So maybe I'll look at some of his props. He might expose this defense a little bit more than anybody else has so far. Maybe we look at Travis Kelce to have a little resurgence here. He's been very quiet lately. I'm not going to bet it. I am 0-2 with him on my card to get in the end zone in both weeks. But I do think he gets his over yardage reception prop here. It's like 44.5, I want to say. Don't quote me on it. But I think he has a bigger game. You got to get him more involved. Sunday night prime time. No better way to do it with Taylor Swift up in the stands. On the other side, we're talking about Isaiah Pacheco being out potentially till next year, as Andy Reid said. They don't really know. I think that's him just playing games with the rest of the league. So we know they'll be in the playoffs. It doesn't give people what to expect. They got bailed out by the refs last week. I know it was a penalty, but they essentially did. But I think they're able. I don't see Kirk Cousins beating Mahomes.
It was a penalty.
Time.
It was just how delayed he threw the flag. It made it seem like
the Chiefs. It's 4th and 13 with the Chiefs. Like that's craziness. But like we said, maybe it's a new page for Kirk Cousins in the prime time. But they didn't look that good in their winning effort. I don't think backdoor win. It's a great win in the prime time for them. But they didn't look like a powerhouse team.
Eagles gave him that game. You said
they can't score enough to beat
right?
the
You
Chiefs.
didn't see the end of that?
No, I had to watch the highlights of it. It was that boring.
Eagles could have kicked the field goal to make it a 6-point game. Barkley drops the pass on the 10. Could have made it. If they get the first down there, game's over. Falcons are out of timeouts, had nothing left. Obviously, they asked Saquon after the game, like, oh, yada, yada, yada. We've heard all the chirps. You can't take the New York Giants out of Saquon Barkley, all this stuff.
Yep.
Eagles were inches away from being, basically a catch away from being 2-0, and the Falcons are a catch away from being 0-2. I think that game was huge for Atlanta. I think I don't like them in this spot. I am on the Chiefs. I don't like the 3.5. I'd like 3, or even 2.5, but that's going to be a steep buy. Maybe at least the 3.
You know what's a good matchup here is that Falcons running game has been carrying them all year, right? With Aljair along with Bijan.
Yep.
You're going up against one of the best run defenses led by Chris Jones. I'm eager to see if Kirk Cousins can do anything.
Pass the ball.
Can he do anything?
Derek London looked really good last week. They got the ball to Pitts a couple of times. It looks like he's going to be a decent pass threat. They like Ray McLeod a lot, which is an interesting ad for them down there. But he had a big Monday night game in Philly. I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons hang around,
Mooney.
but that was the other one I was thinking of, Darnell Mooney. But I like the Chiefs, but I wanted it -3, not 3.5.
Yeah, I like him on the money line more, so I think that might be a better parlay. Like with the Niners, you go Chiefs, Niners, 2 best teams in the league to take care of business. Going into Sunday Night Football might not be a bad leg to have. It's the prime time though, so I've seen weirder things happen. The Chiefs love their early season losses, haven't had one yet, so maybe they're due for it. I don't think it's this week though. I got Mahomes over Cousins.
Yeah, I agree. And then our first Monday night doubleheader of the year, we have. There's a lot of good 0-2 teams. I think this is one of them. Jacksonville, maybe not at the level of Baltimore or Cincinnati or any of those teams that are down there, but I like Jacksonville. I'm surprised to see them at 0-2. I thought they'd get a win last week over Cleveland. They're now 0-2, heading to Buffalo, who is 2-0 and a 5.5-point favorite on Monday Night Football with a 45.5-point total, and Bills moneyline -250 and Jags +200. Do you like the Jags to maybe keep this a close game on Monday Night Football, or do the Bills continue their dominance and roll this game?
I really do. I think the Jags have a chance to win this football game. I think the Bills have been over-exceeding. I think they probably are on pace for the playoffs now, but we didn't have them pegged this high going into the year. Nobody really did. I know they're up there in our power rankings for the week, deservedly so. They're 2-0, and they've beaten solid teams in doing it. But they haven't looked like world beaters. They were beneficiaries of good turnovers last week and poor play from Tua and the rest of the team. They kind of walked into 2 wins. The Cardinals gave them week 1. I think that the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence are able to right the ship and get to 1-2 here. They have a good coach. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. I still believe it. I think you do too. Travis Etienne, great running back. And Brian Thomas looks like one of the best rookie receivers so far. A lot of them look good, I guess. But they have a lot of options. Their defense is pretty stingy. In the prime time, I'm calling it a prime time game. Josh Hines-Allen's look great. Give me the Jaguars here to get the job done. I like them on the money line. You might see this on my card.
Yeah, it's a weird number. I like the under. I think it'll be a lower scoring game. Obviously, we've seen the Bills put up a lot of points to start the season. Get them in the prime time on Monday Night Football at home. This is not their home opener. Week 1 was their home opener against the Cardinals. I like the under 45.5 in this matchup. Don't love it. We'll have to see what I take come Monday. But lean that. We'll want to see which way that total moves.
I don't think James Cook finds the end zone 3 times. He was getting people gassing up James Cook right now. I don't think he's that good of a running back. I think he's good. I do think he was better than most people think, but he's not. I mean, he's not. Besides Josh Allen, who's good on that offense though?
I would Kincaid,
Kupp, and Coleman all have potential, but they're not good yet.
They haven't done anything yet. They're just going all of potential. Yeah.
So maybe Josh Allen has to air it. I think he's going to have to air it out a bit more this week. That Jaguars defense is a bit more stout against the run. They might be able to contain Allen a bit more too. So other people are going to have to step up.
Yeah, and then like I said, we have a second Monday night game with the Washington Commanders heading to Cincinnati to visit the 0-2 Bengals. LSU quarterback or LSU Heisman versus LSU Heisman in this game with Jaden Daniels going up against Burrow. Burrow and the Bengals are a 7.5-point favorite, over under at 47. Bengals moneyline -375. Commanders moneyline is +280. Which way do you go on this matchup?
I think Jaden Daniels can win this game. Do I like both dogs on Monday Night Football? I might. I like Jaden Daniels to get into the end zone running more so than I do him win this game. It's going to be a hard-fought, low-scoring game, but I think that maybe it turns into a shootout, too. I don't really know what to project on this one. 2 teams that haven't shown me too much. Jaden Daniels, really accurate to start his career, running very well. He's got B-Rob and Austin Eckler looking a little decent. He hasn't used McLaurin at all, which kind of pisses me off. I think McLaurin's one of the best receivers in the league, being held hostage in Washington. Meanwhile, the Bengals, so many problems. heart-wrenching loss, so you feel like they need a win here. But Jamar Chase is fighting people more than catching the ball. Their running game, non-existent. Zach Moss getting the lion's share of the carries, but not doing much with them. Defense looking all right, led by Trey Hendrickson and CTB. A crazy interception. We got to call that out from last week. But I like the value on a Jaden Daniels touchdown. I also like the value on the Redskins to win this game. Yes, they want to change their name back to the Redskins.
Yeah, I do love the Commanders plus the 7.5 points here. This probably will be on my card. There's no way I don't think there's any situation where this line's still 7.5 come Monday, so I might have to lock this one in early. I think this will be at 7 or 6.5 come kickoff. But give me the Commanders plus the 7.5. I definitely would advise getting in on this early, because even if it goes to 8, there's a rare scenario where a team actually loses by 8 and you'd lose on this 7.5. Give me the Commanders plus the 7.5 points. I think this is a young, fun team. Brian Robinson has looked really good. Jaden Daniels has looked exciting and fun to watch. And the Bengals have looked the exact opposite of that. And I'm looking for, obviously, where everyone's down talking the Ravens and the Bengals, they both did have to go to Kansas City in the first 2 weeks of the season. This could be a very easy bounce back spot for the Bengals, but I'm going to ride them while they're low. Give me the Commanders plus 7.5 to come in there and at least keep things close. I think the Bengals could pick up their first win, but I like the Commanders points.
Yeah, that should be a pretty decent game. I know I said I liked the under before on this Monday night, but then again, you sparked an idea in my head with the LSU Heisman's going head-to-head. Might be something, but I'm eager to see Jaden Daniels' feet get going on the ground again. He's looked pretty good in the limited action I've seen so far.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that is going to do it for our Week 3 slate. Make sure you're staying tuned for our Sunday live stream going through our top 5 NFL games. Our top 4 games, including Sunday Night Football. Make sure you're staying tuned to our social media for our analysis of Thursday night and Monday Night Football, and as well as all of our free plays going out for Thursday, Sunday, and Monday slate in the NFL, as well as college football on Saturday and the MLB while we have it the rest of the way. That's going to do it for us this week for Week 3. We'll catch you next week on the podcast for Week 4. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.